Welcome back to Descendants video for you today, going over the dev live for the update that will be on October 1st. However, I want you to go and use these codes right away. These codes on screen, which will also be in the description below. These codes expire on September 28th Pacific time at 23:59. So 11:59 p.m. Pacific tonight. These codes will expire. So if you don't use them by then, they will be gone forever. So make sure you get in there, use these codes, and get your freebies. Now, on to the Dev Live recap. So before we jump into the individual items that they were talking about during the Dev Live, they were at Tokyo Game Show this year. And this is just a quick look at their booth at Tokyo Game Show. They had a bunch of kiosks set up, but they also had some cosplayers and a life-like model of the Vortex bike here. And then you'll also see, aside from the bunny, they also had a Luna and a Bayonetta cosplayer there. They look very, very good. A lot of work was put into those, and it looks very, very great. Congratulations to those cosplayers. Looks so good. I'll put a link to their profiles on Twitter in the description below. So that was really cool to see of them in the Tokyo Game Show and those really great cosplayers. So this is the real meat and potatoes of the Dev Live from Thursday. I want to kind of go over this bit by bit. We're going to kind of skip ahead in the video and check things out. First up are swords. I know a lot of us are super excited for these swords. The first one that they showed off was the Shadow Sword. And now I want to point out a few things here on the glade that they have set up, in specific with these swords. So I'm going to come back here just real quick. Here we go. So we'll notice that the Shadow Sword has a new pose associated with it when you hold a sword in the game. But you'll see these swords actually take impact rounds here, which is really, really interesting. I don't know how I feel really about swords taking ammo to use. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think swords should take ammo? I don't know. They should have something that kind of limits their use, but not, I don't know about ammo. Something else I want to call attention to here is that each sword is going to have a defensive maneuver and it's going to have like a special attack. And I think these are going to be the ones that take ammo. And I do believe they mentioned you're going to be able to swing and use your sword even if you don't have ammo in them. So this is really cool. And now they're going to showcase just a little bit of Glay just using the sword and doing the movement. It looks really good. It looks pretty fluid. It's a little choppy. It's a little slow for my taste on sword swinging activities. They did mention that this is just a work in progress development build. You can see that up here in the top right corner. So this could change dramatically or just a little bit when we get into the actual build, when we get to actually play with the swords on October 1st. Glay can go into her infinite ammo mode and she will not be using any sword ammo whatsoever. And this showcase here is basically just to look at how the swords work. And this is the special attack with that sword. That's so freaking cool that we're going to have a new way to play the game. That was one reason why Serena was so good for us in the game. Swords are going to offer us a new way to play melee wise. Now you'll see here, this sword is not doing very much damage whatsoever. There's almost no damage there. And I believe they have a non-modded version of the sword on. When they switch to a version of the sword that has modules and stuff on right here, and then they start doing attacks with it, you'll see that the sword does pretty substantial damage. It's not going to be the best damage in the world, but this is just a showcase to kind of demonstrate how the sword looks and works. And you'll see here the damage numbers are in the millions. It's providing status effects on those tick damage there, or on that tick damage there. So there is quite a bit of build possibility. And they mentioned that the mods for swords, there's the damage numbers again. They mentioned the swords are going to have their own set of modules and things like that. So there's going to be plenty of build opportunity with swords. And I'm pretty excited for this. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I am pretty excited to see what will come about from these sword builds. And this is just the Shadow Sword. We're going to go ahead and skip ahead to where the Manus sword is. But before we do that, look at the cores that are on this sword. You see the sword has 3 Almandine slots on there. No generalized slot, but we have a Malachite for sword attack or Colossus attack. Or it would be firearm attack and Colossus attack now, but it looks like they're going to have a completely different melee weapon attack. So we'd have firearm attack, we'd have explosive attack, and now we have melee attack on weapons. You see, this also does toxic damage. But we have 3 Almandine slots, which is for weak point and critical um, damage, which I think is going to be pretty interesting from this. It's going to be a critical sword. And to be honest, it looks like a critical sword, right? It looks like a sword that would just slice and dice through stuff. Forgive the pun there. It also has a Xantic slot, which is the blue one. So that can be for an element. You're obviously going to want to put Toxic on this to enhance the toxic attack that's already on the weapon. I don't think they scroll down any further on there, but they do go to the skins. So one thing I want to note here with the skins is there are a couple of interesting items here. You'll see there's 2 skins. There's an ultimate one, which is the gold background, and there's a transcendent skin on there. Now, these skins look very, very cool. We'll see them kind of cycle through this here and what it looks like. True samurai looking type deal. We're going to skip ahead to the transcendent skin that they're going to put on. So this is the transcendent skin for it, harmony and balance. It looks really cool. It changes its colors. They've even got a little bit of a story behind it here for the lore. So the transcendent skins not only change, there it is, they don't only change the way the sword looks, but they change the effects on the sword as well. So I skipped ahead here to the other sword that they're introducing in the game, which is more of a wide arcing sword. They just demonstrated on Ajax. There's not anything really specific to Ajax that they have with this, but you'll see here as they swing this sword that has a heft to it. It has a, you can look at that. Like you can see that this sword, it's going to probably do more damage. It looks really, really badass. It's not the quick slicing and chopping of the other sword. This is a big sword that's going to do, I don't want to say hefty damage, but it has some heft to it. And here we can see them use the special attack on it. You'll see them kind of build, there it is. That special attack is a huge overhead chop that knocks an enemy back. This sword looks pretty darn cool. I'm not sure which one I'm most excited for, but these are going to be the 2 swords that we're getting in the October 1st update. Let me know down in the comments, which one are you excited for? That samurai one is looking pretty cool. And as we go ahead and look at the skins for this, we'll see we have a giant Claymore, and it also has the ultimate and the transcendent skin, which we'll talk about how to get those transcendent skins later. But let's go take a look at those weapon cores. So we'll see that this sword also has the same core setup as the other previous faster sword that they had shown, with a Malachite, a Xantic, and 3 Almandine slots. So it's going to be interesting to see how people build this and what they make of it. You can also tell it has quite a bit more melee attack, but it's also a chill weapon. So this can slow enemies down. So there's a lot of utility that can be used with that. And skipping ahead here, we can see that there is also a new set of external components that can be found in the new Void Vessel, which is going to be something we talk about in just a little bit. But this revolves around melee attack and building up melee stacks. So it's built specifically for the melee style of gaming. And we'll see here that in the background, the Ajax actually has that transcendent skin equipped on that sword. And it's a pretty big sword to be on your back. So this is reminding me of some Monster Hunter level weapons that just kind of hang out on your back as you're cruising around and working through stuff. It's pretty cool if you ask me. They're going to demonstrate the new Void Vessel. They are changing this to allow you to launch Void Vessel from this overall map area that's here, which I think is pretty darn cool because this saves me a lot of time. I don't have to transfer or walk up and down Albion to launch that. Like most people, I have my fast travel point set to where the ETA 0 is, and I always forget that I have to launch regular Void Vessel from Albion. Having this option up here is just going to be so great. And this is the medium. This one cracked me up a lot because they always referred to it as the medium-sized facility zone for Void Vessel. And it's such a mouthful to say, but it's a smaller area. I think after seeing this, you will agree with us that we think that the original Void Vessel was a large-sized facility zone for it. However, we're going to kind of go through and watch them do a little bit of a playthrough. You can see there's a normal and hard difficulty here on it. And it looked like there was 2 separate areas to go here, but let's go ahead and check this out and we'll speed through some of that content. However, we'll take a look here. Some things I want to call out for the medium-sized facility zone is that if you look at the time remaining on this, It's similar to what we currently have for the other Void Vessel. I also want to call out that there's a new decryption key for this. And as we go through this Void Vessel, I'm going to kind of call out a couple other things that are on there that I think are pretty important for us to check out. So here they are running through the Void Vessel. They're a Jaber. They're using their regular sword to just kind of cut through some enemies. A lot of folks are going to realize that as they're working through this with their Jaber, I know what you're all thinking. A skill-based Descendant is just going to blindingly speed through this with very, very little effort. And I tend to agree with that. When we were watching this live, we kind of all had the same sort of sentiment that a bunny or any other skill-based Descendant would be able to zoom through this at a breakneck speed and finish it pretty fast. So all the speedrunners out there, give a shout out to one of my favorite Time Lost. She's gonna have a blast with this, I bet. So you'll notice that the swords also cleave through enemies. So this is actually something that I was super interested in. When you see a group of enemies that get bundled up together, like with any kind of toe effect, you can see that when you swing the sword, they're gonna have damage on all the enemies for one sword ammo. There it is. So they have 90 ammo and they're swinging. They're using one ammo to cleave through a bunch of different enemies at once. So having that toe ability on some of your descendants or using power beyond that can do that with the DOTs. So here we are towards the end of this Void Vessel run, and you'll see that there is actually an entire hoverbike section to kind of just zoom through to break up the monotony of the regular combat. And I'm hoping there's a bunch of collectibles and stuff stuck in this area for people to go and get. Obviously, the secret chests and things that are going to be in this area, there's probably going to be stuff sprinkled around in here, but it's pretty cool to break up the normal combat with some hoverbike action that's in there. And you'll see once they get to the final area, the boss here has a pretty cool intro, but this is the RK Assassin, and the RK Assassin is a melee focused boss. And you'll see that it's very thematic. The theme for the October 1st update is swords, and you can tell they're really pushing the sword combat and they're really pushing the um, really up in the face sword kind of clashing and doing damage and things like that, which I think is pretty darn cool. It's a new way to play the game. We'll see how quickly it lasts. The new Void Vessel seems pretty darn short. Um, However, we got to get our hands on it before we actually make any pure judgments about it, right? Before we have a full idea of what it's going to be like. And speaking of the new Void Vessel activity, I wanted to come back here and show you guys something very, very interesting for when they kill this RK Assassin. You can see the sword. Sword is taking pretty decent chunks out of them. They're using the Manus sword right now, the big one that does huge chunks. Also, Jaber's turrets are doing pretty good work here. But take a quick look at what is dropping here once this boss has been killed. You're gonna see that these are Axian materials. You saw Salentra, Keracid, Entropium, the trash purple weapons, Breachstone shards. Of course, the Kuiper and Gold isn't that bad, but you're also going to look at this decryption key too. Now, they don't actually look at what the chances are or what the loot looks like in the box at the end after killing this boss here. They kind of just stand around and they really don't even look at it. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we get from that box there. But keep in mind, this will drop Axian parts for killing that boss. So hopefully the chests are going to have blue brains in them, but I know blue brain farming's a pain for a lot of folks. So we'll see what this new Void Vessel brings us. Cutting forward just a little bit, we'll see some of the new trigger modules that they have. Supply Fortress, which is being added into the game along with two others. Supply Fortress is going to work with a barrier type skill. So they quickly skim over this one, a wave eruption. And so the third trigger module is for Ultimate Luna. This looks like just an extra transcendent module specifically for Luna. Skipping ahead a little bit more, we'll see that they added Legion of Breach to the lab, and you'll also notice you can have a lot more enemies here in the lab to do your testing with. And now one of my favorite parts of every dev live when we get a Colossus change out, this is the Lava Citadel. Is just like Molten Fortress, very weak to chill, normal to toxic. So get your VSs and your Haleys ready. Hell, get a Serena ready with some chill type weapons. Go in there and have a good time and a blast with that. Let's go ahead. Let's skip ahead to, let's see, a little bit of gameplay there. Here we go. A little bit of gameplay here of the Lava Citadel. He's coming in. You can see the arena already looks different. I really like how the Lava Citadel is in an area that's like a volcanic region. You can actually see mountains and stuff from the background. It's not the same sort of void intercept area that we're used to. And he does look a little bit different, a lot more mech induced here. And they're using a Viesa to challenge him and go through. They do eventually beat this on the stream, and we'll see here that when they do, you still get the same moving fortress items and the same external components and the same mods as well. Skipping ahead just a little bit more, they're going to show off the skins for this. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. So this is the female skin for Molten Fortress. It's very, very mech-like. And then the back attachment they're going to show off, you have a mini Molten Fortress just kind of crawling up and down your back. This looks pretty cool. I love the backpack on this. The back attachment is just it's really really cool. They always knock it out of the park with the Colotoy pieces. However, the skin overall looks very very cool. I'm not sure how much I would use it in my own fashion. I mean, I probably will. Let's be real. These are some of the better skins that they put in the game that are just earnable and free. So this is the female version of it. And if we scoot ahead, we will see that this is the male version of it. You become one hell of a chonky boy with the male Lava Citadel skins. I think the joke was made, you're going to have some Ninja Turtle looks coming off of this. The devs are really, really interested in making Ninja Turtle colorings for this. Let me know what you guys think about the Lava Citadel skins. This is a huge skin. Like I could see Ajax wearing this skin and fitting right in, but I couldn't see like Jaber or somebody wearing this skin and fitting in. And also here there is another account that was in there. You'll saw there's a footballer skin. So we'll go ahead and jump forward to that in just a little bit. But the next important thing, the next thing that's really really great that they're adding in here is going to be opening multiple amorphous at the same time at a shaping device over by Anais. And when they look at this, look at all these amorphous they have to open. There's 100 of that one material. You're gonna see how they open this, and it is. I gotta tell you, as somebody with over 2,000 amorphous materials stored up, I'm super excited for this. You can see you don't have to use any currency whatsoever to do this. You can just shape continuously. So you'll get this screen where you're shaping that and it will automatically count down. You'll see over here on the right hand side, it just automatically counts down to start shaping the next one. And you can skip that by saying shape now. So you'll be able to go through all of your amorphous materials at no cost and open them all up at the same time. Like I said, I have thousands of amorphous materials to open up, and that is going to be absolutely amazing to do. So I'm looking forward to getting all those catalyst blueprints and finishing my 60 cat journey on all of my descendants. What do you guys think about this one? They're making this change so that it's much easier for new players who don't want to go through all of the hassle of grinding out Colossus or getting bad teams in Colossus or anything like that. They're making it easier for them to kind of get the rewards and get up to speed in the game. I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of anything that makes things easier for newer players. This is a quick screenshot here of the materialized mechanics reactor here. You'll notice this reactor card looks a lot different. They are doing away with the optimization conditions. This is in a direct response to making the game easier for newer players. It was tough for newer players to constantly meet the optimization condition on reactors because as we all started off new, we all had to replace our weapons every couple of levels. We all replaced our reactors when we got new ones or better ones when we were leveling up, and it was just a pain to always meet those conditions. And it always felt like a hassle in the newer player experience to constantly get the most out of your character. And you felt like they just weren't doing that well. So they went ahead and got rid of those optimization conditions. They're going to gift everybody 3 catalysts for that, which is something that I don't know if that's appropriate for the people who grinded out the achievements for having 3 optimization conditions on 20 reactors. I feel like there could be a better way to reward those folks specifically. However, for the community in general, 3 catalysts is pretty good for anything that they had invested into optimizing all of their reactors. But for those that went after the achievements, I don't know. I feel like they're deserving of just a little bit more. Not because I personally went through that, but I know a lot of other people who did go through with that. And I've seen a lot of people in public lobbies that have that max level Magister's medal. So they went through it as well. Let me know down in the comments below. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about the optimization conditions being removed? And just so you know, the power isn't going down. That skill power is being rolled up directly into the base reactor skill power. So you don't have to worry about losing any power. It's just there for free. Here we're going to see that Kyle is going to be getting some reworks. He's going to be doing some interesting things with his dash now. I believe his dash is going to be able to continue his double jump afterwards. He's not going to fall just straight to the ground. So when you double jump and get up there in the air and do a shoulder dash, you can do your double jump again and again, which is really great. It's going to allow him to stay airborne much longer. Hopefully, it increases his usability. And one of the other cool changes they're making with this is the shield here. You no longer have to hold the shield in front of you. The shield, like you create the shield, you don't have to hold your hands out like you're holding it anymore. You can just create the shield and then you can continue about your business, which is great. I think that's really, really good for the usability of Kyle. It's a really good change and it kind of fits with the way that the game is going in a much faster momentum and a faster pace with all the activities in the game. So we skipped ahead a little bit so we can kind of see like his new fourth ability and like how that's going to work with some of the different transcendent modules he's got. And this looks way better than the previous bombing where you were flying around, you couldn't really see where your bombs went. I think that is really, really cool. They're really giving him kind of an Iron Man-esque type of deal there, which is really, really great. That looks way cooler and way more fun to do than the previous version of that. So here they yap on about the other descendants that are going to get changes in this update aside from Kyle. We are getting changes for Bunny, Ajax, and Esiemo. Esiemo, I'm super excited for. They're going to change how quickly his stacks build up. It's going to make it much faster and hopefully a lot easier to utilize him for many more things aside from just Colossus battles. Ajax is going to be getting a buff to his skill power and his gun damage buffs from using his skills. And Bunny is actually going to get a damage increase for majors and elites, and they're going to adjust her usability and movement in regards to her first and fourth ability. So they won't slow her down as much, if at all, anymore. So Bunny fans, rejoice. You may stand a chance in Axion now. And so you heard me talk previously about the swords and the transcendent skins for them. This is something that's pretty controversial for me. They're adding a new pass to the game that is supposed to cost 1,000 caliber, which is $20 USD. That is 1,500 more caliber than a normal battle pass. But the current sword pass that they had teased is basically an event pass. If anybody was familiar with what Bungie did, they started selling event passes for their Halloween events or any of their like festival events. It seems like Nexon's going that route too, and I'm not a big fan of this, but I really want to know what you guys think about. Think about it. $20 for a pass here. You can see that in this pass, you get a sword. Hopefully the swords are grindable in any other way as well. Hopefully from the new Void Vessel, you get a catalyst. There looks like a couple of cosmetics. A sword charm. I don't know if this is what's going to hang off of your sword. We saw some stuff about that. Think Monster Hunter flare on your weapons. This little thing dangles off of the hilt. There's a crystallization catalyst. Again, you see the transcendent skin that's here for that weapon as well. On the next page, you have It looks like emotes, paints, core binders. They're giving you everything that you could want to have a sword sort of built up. However, keep in mind, this is a $20 pass and there's only 30 levels on this premium pass. You'll see there's a backpack here that they're showing off. You get old mutant cells. It looks like there's a catalyst on every level that's here. We're up to 22, and then 30 is where you get the other transcendent skin for the sword. The other sword looks like a sticker, more catalyst, energy activators, and swords itself. So $20 for this pass, you get 2 swords, and you get the 2 transcendent skins for that sword. I don't know what to think about this one. This kind of seems a little greedy, in my opinion, selling a separate pass for $20. Again, that could change depending on where you're buying it from. It's only 30 levels. And the way you rank this up is there are a separate set of challenges for this. So it's not even going to be your normal challenges that you do every day for logging in and like ranking up your regular season pass. This pass is going to be much, much different in the fact that it has its own set of challenges associated with it. So you can see here, enhance the unique ability of Shadow of the Manus. There's a lot of so you can see here, enhance the unique ability of Shadow, Manus, defeat enemies. There's a lot of other as basic challenges that are in there. You'll see there's one-time challenges and then there's progressive challenges. I don't know if these go from week to week, if they're going to increase from week to week, or how that's going to work. But if it's anything like the current season pass, there will be additional weeks on here. If there's not, and it's just these challenges, which I think could probably be just these ones. Hopefully this levels up pretty fast as it's only 30 levels. I'm not sure if this one expires. If they go back out to the next page, we'll take a look at it. But there's some of the challenges for that. And there's very specific challenges here, which I don't know. I mean, it's something else to do in the game, and they're forcing you to play with the sword. It does look like this is only a 30-day pass. So up here with the time remaining, you have 27 days to get through all of these challenges to get all 30 levels on this pass done. So and then it expires. So that's an interesting piece with the sword pass. It's an extra 1,000 caliber. It's only 30 levels. It has its own challenges, and it has an expiration date up here for the sword pass. It is considered an event pass. Let me know what you guys think about this one down in the description below. This was kind of this was a vibe killer. It was a killjoy. This really brought the overall sentiment for the new update down quite a bit, that they're selling that. But you know what? Let me know what you guys think. And then, of course, we have some new skins coming into the game. We have the footballer skin here, which works really well with Kyle and his dive bombing. We'll go ahead and look over here at Luna. I believe Luna has a cheerleader skin. So let's go ahead and let them show that off on the third one there. Yep, there's Luna's cheerleader skin. Everything folks could want that think about cheerleaders a lot. Let's see. There's a new emote that comes with that, which is a cheerleader emote, which also works the exact same for the guys as it does the girls. We'll see my boy Esiemo here being embarrassed doing the cheerleader emote. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Let's see. We'll skip ahead here to this is a mummification skin. Now, one thing to note about the female skins is they're going to be per descendant this time. They're not they're milking that for all they can. So if you want this for the descendants that it's going to be available for, you're going to have to purchase it on each descendant. They also showed off a succubus skin on Serena, which kind of reminds me of the Valby skin. I'm not going to lie, like the bottom half of this reminds me of the Valby skin a lot. I am a fan of the headpiece, but the fact that it looks almost like repurposed Valby skin, I'm kind of about that. But it's not as devilish as I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. To each their own for the skins and what they like in the game. And now the males, which have a common skin, you're basically Metal Frankenstein here, which this doesn't look that bad, but I mean, of all the other monsters they could have out there, it's Frankenstein. So, and then of course they got to do Frankenstein on the cheerleader emote. That's kind of funny if you ask. They also have a maid skin here that is coming out for other descendants. So this new maid Halloween skin can be yours if you so desire. And I think this one is not a common skin as well. This is one that you have to buy individually for descendants. If I'm wrong, did I say something in here that was not correct, or did I miss something? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd like to hear from you guys. You guys give good ideas on content, and I love hearing about the stuff that you guys want to hear about. And of course, with a new update, we have many new events that are going to come into the game. These are generally log in, play for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, complete some things during the week, and you're going to get different rewards that are there. So we have a couple of different events here. This is the new sector exploration one. We have the Albion Harvest Festival, which is an Oktoberfest slash fall, November, Thanksgiving type of deal. It goes for 28 days. So that's a pretty significant amount of time. We also have an event for the General Store of Dreams. I would imagine this is going to be Ananias's Halloween store. So you'll be getting different currencies for doing different things within the game. As always, Albion will be dressed up for the season. So they're going to get pretty darn festive with this. So I hope that you guys enjoy that. I always enjoy having main hub areas of games dressed up for the different seasons. Moving on here, they went into the Q&A. They talked about Ultimate Luna and how people were disappointed in Descendants like Haley, whose performance still falls short. They are working on updates for Haley. Do not worry, those will be coming very, very soon. The next question they had was in-game content still feels lacking. Now, I don't know which one of your content creators got this information in there, but rumor has it Vanguard's got some connections. So this is a really interesting question, and it sparked a lot of conversation within both our community and the YouTube chat as well. They are making more challenging content, and they're reworking Colossi to be more challenging since there's not much to do with them now that they're taking the amorphous materials out. Same with Void Fusion reactors. However, they are going to be reworking the Descendants and doing the Descendant balance first. And then they're going to be working on their end game loops for content to keep people around and people engaged in the game. And they expect to have the Colossus reworks and the end game content loop adjusted in the first quarter of next year. We're going to jump ahead here. Oh, my connection's a little wonky today, huh? We're going to jump ahead here to the inventory seems overly complex. With so many item types and variations in color or shape, it's difficult to search for items. They have this on their radar, and they do have plans to do a few things with that. And the AFK player situation has been, I don't know if you guys have noticed lately. Have you guys seen a lot of AFK players in your games? But if you look at the Friday report, you'll notice that a lot of players are being marked for AFK. I think in the past month, there have been about 2,000 players who have hit the 3-day matchmaking ban for being AFK. This is obviously something that is very, very prickly for a lot of people. Nobody likes an AFK player being AFK and then joining at the boss for all the rewards. Nobody likes that. And Nexon basically said this is really tough for them to figure out how somebody is AFK or how to filter people that are AFK. That being said, they are trying to work on it as best as they can. And then for the whole recap of the event, well, we have the 2 swords that are coming. We have the medium-sized facility zone for Void Vessel, the new trigger modules, which you'll be able to get in the Void Vessel, the laboratory improvements, which we'll be able to have Legion of Breach and many more monsters in it at any given time. We're going to get the Lava Citadel skin updates and the balance pass and the sword pass and the quality of life updates such as the amorphous materials and the reactor changes. So that's going to do it for us, guys. I hope you had a good time watching the video. I hope you guys learned some stuff here. If I missed something, again, let me know down in the description below. And as always, I think we got one of the best communities on Discord for the First Descendant. So if you want to join that, hang out and talk with us offline or even when we're streaming, which by the way is every night on Twitch, you can come over and check us out. All the links to those will be down in the description below. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to redeem those coupon codes. And as always, Descendants, until the next time, 0 out.